Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read-through for Omniscient Reader or Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint chapters 161, 162, 163, and 164. I'm excited to read as I always am. I was told that 164 is a good place to end, and this might be kind of a quick one depending on how much action we get, unless the chapters are like supremely long, because I feel like these are going to be fighting chapters. We're getting into the battle for, the strongest in soul and kind of to kill the strongest in soul, and we have a lot of other things going on. There's not only the fight between Nirvana and Junghyuk, but also Dokja trapped on the outside now because of Jon Il-do's power, and I think that was his name, Il-do, unless it's Il-do, but I think I'm thinking of Gong Pil-do. I think it's Jon Il-do. So now we have to kill him, but of course there are going to be other people that are going to be protecting him, probably. So I'm excited to see how this goes, and we have the monsters coming in with the other group that's going to be staying behind to fight them, but I don't know if we'll see that very much, because we kind of already saw some of that. But either way, let's just start reading 161. I don't think there's really much else to say. So then, we're seeing this shot of what's going on with the battle here. Nirvana, Junghyuk, and the people are cheering them on. Then we have Dokja and Yusung trapped on the outside, looking on. We have the two-sword style, the Nitoryu from Junghyuk. Nirvana dodging and using more of these sort of mandala magic circles. And also, we don't know, I think Nirvana was carrying over skills from their past lives, right? So if so, we don't know what they might pull out against Junghyuk here. Junghyuk is just slashing away at what is, I'm assuming, just what Nirvana is using to summon the magic. And then, or activate the magic, we have the Strongest Sacrifice Part 5. He's out of breath already, and actually bleeding from that. Oh, it looks like this is going to end soon. And then Il-do is running away from the terrifying pursuers in Jihye and Huiwon. We have Junghyuk taking the high ground. Come here, Junghyuk. And then Junghyuk uses Giant Arm Attack. Giant Body Transformation. It literally is Giant Arm Attack. He goes down. No way. So that's the battle between two of Soul's most powerful incarnations. Also, now I was talking about it last chapter or last read through, we don't know how this is going to end, because they're trapped in there fighting to the death, though Nirvana seemingly wants to become one with Junghyuk. They're fighting to the death in here, but if either of them die, it will not work because Dokja is considered the strongest, which makes sense given Dokja's story at the moment. And that makes me think the only way that I can think of to get out of this is to, like, again, either kill half the people, which, I don't want to sound sociopathic. I don't want to sound unempathetic to the poor people just trying to survive in the Soul Dome. But at this point, it's like one of those things where you're looking at some of these fictional worlds, and it's like a zombie apocalypse, or this is minus the zombies. I mean, they're kind of here, but everything's kind of here. This is an apocalyptic scenario, and at what point and what level of what fictional world do you kind of have to say, like, it's kind of eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. Like, you don't have to go totally overboard with it, but at the same time, if the thing is like, okay, half the people have to die, you can try to fight against it, like we did with the Peaceland stuff, but to a certain point it's like, okay, do you let Dokja die or half the people, when it's like, do you assign everyone equal value, or is Dokja's willingness to try to fight against these scenarios when possible mean that he counts higher? Of course, I think that you should try to like minimize casualties as much as possible, but it doesn't seem like they're being given that option here. It's either kill the strongest or kill half of them, and again, it's very much a trolley problem, because even if you don't want to kill half the people and you're like, oh, well, even if they're the strongest or even if they're a good person or the main character like Dokja, you can't weight them over half of these other people, then are you kind of just saying, well, that one person is a sacrifice we're able to make. If we can save half these, nameless people, it's fine to kill this one person. Even that is morally not good. Even killing the one person is not a good thing. So it's questionable of even whether it's the lesser of two evils when both are still evils. But I think that Dokja is very much willing, and not just willing, but wanting to take Nirvana out of this. So I feel like the only logical way that I can think of, and of course the author might be way better than me, obviously, and be able to think of a way cooler way, but the only thing I can think of is making Nirvana's story, Nirvana's power, Nirvana's character, to be stronger, to be greater than Dokja's, and then killing Nirvana. But it's like, if Nirvana's already not a better, bigger story because of all of the reincarnating, then how would you make Nirvana even stronger? Unless you do something to temporarily nerf Dokja in order to take out Nirvana, and have that count as fulfilling the requirement. The blade is caught by all of these hands reaching up. The 1,000 hands of the Avalokitesvara. And wow, actually, that I thought was just going to be like a confident moment. I thought that was just going to be like, ha, you thought you had this big attack, but I can block it. But no, Nirvana's like actually struggling and in danger. But pushes back away. Gosh, I'm a bit disappointed. And then we saw the box. You're the strongest incarnation of soul. That face is crazy. I'm actually the strongest here. He jumps up to the rooftops. Soo-young? Okay, so Soo-young is just lurking. Come on out. I know you're watching. We have this void opening. What the heck? How'd you know? Cool outfit. Kind of reminiscent of some other things. I almost, from the colors and the white lines and everything, I was gonna say the My Hero Academia sports uniform. Because there's no way you wouldn't have come here after hearing the megaphone. Constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon bears his teeth toward you. So he became Soo-young's supporting Constellation. We have him just roaring in the background. I was having fun watching, so why'd you want to see me? Are you just here to watch? You should be thinking of how to complete the scenario. Hey, we need to know who the strongest is to... Wait, do you know who it is? Okay, so Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, I'm forgetting. Was Abyssal Black Flame Dragon the one that wanted to kill her? I guess not if it became her supporting Constellation. But I forget which one was the one that wanted to kill her. I thought it was Abyssal Black Flame Dragon, though. Then, wait, do you know who it is? Which one of them is it? Is it Junghyuk? No. That's a relief. This world will reset if he ends up dying. We can't have that. Then it must be the leader of the Salvation Church. I just have to kill them, right? They're not the strongest either. They're not. Then who am I supposed to kill? He just looks... That's another really good panel. That's a really gorgeous panel. No way. And then large swath of white? No. Okay. For some reason, Webtoons just wasn't loading. Okay. The two of them are still fighting. And Nirvana's taking damage. So is Junghyuk, but Junghyuk was already taking damage. Oh my, looks like this is going to end sooner than expected. If it ends too early, What's the point in giving them hints? Were the Dokubi always yellow text on the black box? I thought that the different ones had different colors. But maybe I'm just doing a thing where I remember incorrectly. This won't do. Let's reveal them a little sooner. And then we see the 8th strongest incarnation in Seoul is the Priestess of the Moon, Yu Sang-ah. Okay, I don't know if we had heard that title for Sang-ah yet, since usually when we hear the titles, it comes from Dokja thinking about, or like Dokja looking at their profiles or thinking about them from the TWSA. So I didn't think we had heard Sang-ah's yet, or I don't think we've heard it yet. Then 7th strongest incarnation in the Seoul Dome is Armament Lord Gong Pil-du. 6th strongest is Judge of Evil, Jung Hui-won. So Hui-won is only 6th? That's crazy. So 10th... This is kind of making me wonder where Yu Sung is. Is she even in the top 10 currently? Because it seems like she is still kind of OP, but as OP as she is, I wouldn't have put her above like Hui-won or Sang-ah probably. And crazy too, like, good for Gong Pil-du, he's higher than Sang-ah. So 10th was Ji-hye and 9th was Gil-young, then Sang-ah, Pil-du, Hui-won. So we're left with the top 5. Soo-young, or Yu-sung's probably not there, because Soo-young is probably there, right? Maybe? Like, I never really view Soo-young, like, she's one of my favorite characters, but I don't view her as, like, strong, particularly. She is strong, but, like, I don't view her as, like, a normal fighter type of character, more so of a trickster type of character. But then the obvious Dokja, Junghyuk, and Nirvana are 3, like, locked-in answers. It wouldn't be Seohwa, right? Because I really would not think that Seohwa was stronger than Sang-ah or Hui-won. But it's possible. Dokja's mom could definitely be there. I don't know. Or maybe we'll get a crazy reveal that Jo Il-do is one of them and that he's actually super strong, and then he becomes a bigger sort of like secondary antagonist behind Nirvana. Who's Yu Sang-ah? Priestess of the Moon. Mr. Gong's the 7th strongest? Goodness. I'm 6th? I'm only 10th. GK. Really, though, I would have thought that Hui-won was higher. Oh, wait, we haven't seen Hyun-sung, and Dokja just hyped up Hyun-sung is getting, like, really, really, really strong. So Hyun-sung's probably in top 10. So it's probably the 2 that are fighting, Dokja, Hyun-sung, and then either Dokja's mom or Soo-young. I'm thinking that it's not current Yu-sung anymore, even though I think she's getting underrated. Like, top 5 might be overrating her, but not in top 10, I feel like is underrating her. So, she's probably not there, and then it's between Dokja's mom and Soo-young. But I would lean towards it being Dokja's mom, and Soo-young just isn't in the top 10. But that's crazy, because that means the old lady whose name I feel bad I always forget, that means that like Doksoon or something? That's probably not it. That means that she's not there, which I mean, I guess may be reasonable, and that means that the like second in command right-hand person of Dokja's mom isn't there either. Probably. Hui-won, how about we spar a little after we deal with this punk? And Il-do's already down on the ground. I'm sorry, but no can do. My supporting constellation likes you quite a bit. How'd you break free from thought infection? I'm the one asking questions here. And stomp again. I'll kill you if you don't undo your stigma this moment. Even if you kill me. My stigma won't come undone. Looks like this will be a bit of a hassle. Oh, and he goes unconscious? Listen, Dokja. Dokja? I love Go-young's shrugging pose. We have the people that are still fighting against the beasts or monsters incoming. 5th strongest incarnation in Seoul Dome is Pure Steel Lee Hyun-sung. Pure Steel? Why on earth would they call you that? He's blushing. I don't know. So yeah, massive step up then for Hyunsung. And I wonder, is this just a change in translation from Steel Blade, which is what he started out as? Is this a change in translation, or is it a change in title because Hyunsung has changed as a person? I don't know. And then he knocks away one of the monsters. Dokja, are you sure things are going as planned? The fourth strongest incarnation in the Soul Dome is Black Flame Empress, Han Soo-young. Okay, so it isn't his mom. It's Soo-young is fourth strongest. So unless for some reason Nirvana, or it'd be hilarious if Jungkook wasn't there for some reason. So yeah, this is going to be drama. Because this whole thing, the whole plan is predicated on having Nirvana fight against Jungkook. So if they announce that either or both of them aren't the strongest, if they announce that to everybody, then if they announce that to everybody, then does Jungkook just immediately turn on Dokja? Like, I could see that happening. Or what does Nirvana do? What do the regular people do? It feels like the entire plan falls apart in that case. But this means that Dokja's mom and her entire group aren't even top 10, which I was power scaling them way strong because way wrong because I thought they were way stronger. And also, I feel like current Yusung is getting like let down a little bit. I feel definitely, I rate her higher than Gil Young. No offense to Gil Young, I like him, and I kind of rate. I don't know. Knocking Jihei fully out of the top 10 would suck. But Jihei is like so specific. I rate Jihei generally higher than both of the children, but if she's not around any water, that does severely nerf her. I really am fourth. Then she looks over to Dokja with a dagger stuck in. Dokja, are you really going to die like this? Honestly, though, if he still had King of No Killing, or if he still has another way to, die temporarily and revive himself, this could, Dokja could have made an easy big brain play against the, Dokubi or whatever. He could have just been like, oh, the strongest has to die to complete the scenario. Die immediately, come back to life. Okay, done. Scenario's over. I do like the outfit here. It's different, and I appreciate that. It's different from all of the other Omniscient Reader characters right now. Alright? So that I can be the third strongest. Okay, strongest sacrifice, we get our recap. Current number of incarnations, that's gone down a little, right? Because I guess of the ones that are fighting the monsters? Because I think it was 91 something last time, right? Unless I'm just remembering wrong. Either way, let's move on to 162. And I was super wrong when I said I thought these were going to be short because they were going to be mostly action. We got action, and not only have we gotten action, but it's been really, really good. I love the stuff so far with Nirvana and Jungkook because you can really follow it. You can tell exactly what's going on with their different techniques, their different attacks. I mean, some of the stuff is purposefully unclear. There are sometimes when Nirvana just has, again, the mandala magic circles just flying around, and they're not really using any skills that we get to see. It's just we know that that's where the skills are coming from, so Jungkook has to avoid them or counter them in some way. But I think not only have we really seen what each of these characters are doing, but their attacks are really cool. I like the style that we're going for here and the different color of the energy between the dark purple stuff coming from Jungkook and then the stuff coming from Nirvana being gold. Kind of, a little overbearing with the gold since the barrier they're in is also gold. But, everything looks good. Everything, they're cool abilities. The action I think is good, but on top of that, it wasn't a super quick 5-minute read action chapter. We also got more story content and more deeper character stuff. And I really like just revealing more of these power rankings, even if, here's the thing. On the one hand, these power rankings are making me think, no, I would rank them differently, personally. But I think that's probably a good thing too, because if I'm just like, well, obviously this person's stronger than... Like, if it was just an obvious progression of characters through these ranks, then that would also be less cool. There'd be less to talk about there. So yeah, I just really overall thought that was a killer chapter, and now we still get to read 3 more. Dokcha. Like, I was completely wrong at how... Like, of course I thought it would be good. Of course I thought it'd be deeper than just them fighting. But I thought that, like, a majority of the chapter would have probably been taken up by just the fight. But it felt like we just got so much more than just the fight. We saw these panels last time. Again, they really... Whoever the artist working on these 2 panels were, really went in on doing both of their faces. They were like... They really were like, I want something that stands out. They gave us a totally different angle and framing than we usually get. Okay, The Strongest Sacrifice Part 6. So we're sticking with this title. Now that I look at him, he's not all that bad looking. He asked me to stab him, so I did, but he couldn't have, right? Why am I worrying about him and just poking him? There's a crash from behind. Haha, we only have the top 3 left to go. You're all dying to know who it is, aren't you? In a moment. And see, this is cool how there's like this back and forth game between the Dokubi and the incarnations. The Dokubi are like, okay, we're going to announce the rules of this scenario, but we're not going to announce who the strongest is, so that either way, you're either going around killing each other, or you're going around killing who you think is the strongest. You could sacrifice people trying to kill who you think is the strongest and still not succeed because they're that strong. But even if you do succeed, if they were only second or third strongest, you've sacrificed all those people for nothing, and now the second or third strongest is dead. So the Dokubi were like, okay, not knowing the strongest worked to their favor, to what they want the story to be, but then the incarnations with Dokja and his team set up this fight, so it's like, okay, the 2 strongest are fighting, and everybody's like, okay, so the strongest is, like, it naturally leads the random people around to be like, okay, one of these 2 has got to be the strongest then. But then that kind of, takes some of the control out of the Dokubi's hands. It makes it less exciting from the Dokubi's perspective, so they shift it now to be like, okay, we're going to announce this quicker to take the power back out of the incarnation's hands, ruin their plans, even if it means giving up who the strongest is. And it feels like not only did we get like the scenario announced, but the scenario itself has evolved story-wise as we've gone through it. In a moment, the rankings will be revealed, or the ranking will be revealed. And then Constellation Secretive Plotter tries to hide his Pounding Heart. So they're using him for Secretive Plotter. I always viewed Secretive Plotter as more feminine. So that is surprising. Constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband begins to pull his hair. Constellation Bald Army General wipes his head in curiosity. Then again, it could just be a translation thing. Sometimes you can kind of ignore gendered language when it comes to the translation, because this is originally in Korean, and Korean is one of those languages, much like Japanese, that isn't very gendered. Like, usually in, I think, from what little I know of Korean, even more so in Korean than in Japanese, usually, like, gendered language isn't used unless you're trying to be, like, real specific, unless you're, like, really specifying the gender of someone. So this could just, again, be like gender neutral language in Korean, but whoever translated it just used his, because it is a linguistic difference. We have all the hands coming from Nirvana. Then still fighting with 2 swords, 1 giant arm, 1 small arm, Jinghyuk. And it looks like he's taking some damage or pain to the enlarged arm. My body's falling apart due to the effects of giant body transformation. Do not ever use that skill until your stats are in the 3 digits. Okay, so stats go up that high. I didn't know if they would max out at 99, but they do go into the 3 digits. That's what my master told me. But so I don't think we know this master yet, and this master might actually be somebody that even technically this round's Junghyuk doesn't know yet. There's somebody that Junghyuk will meet in the future that they met in a past regression. Junghyuk, I cannot keep myself on the path I walk, even if I were to put my everything into it. And then he's still slicing through all of the magic circles, disconnecting all of the hands that are coming to attack. The attack comes down on Nirvana. So yeah, this is actually really cool. This is a pretty shining moment for Junghyuk, because even though Junghyuk is like clearly very strong and, you know, one of the strongest, he's the main character from the beginning, he's been portrayed as extremely strong. What we see as a reader is usually either Junghyuk getting bested by Dokja and Dokja's plans, or him just being used to come in and like completely overpower an opponent. So getting to see him, well, we do see some moments like fighting Catastrophe of Questions or the 41st round Yusung, where he's like struggling against an opponent and Dokja has to help, but that opponent's a Catastrophe, so it's a bit different. We see stuff like that. This is kind of different in seeing like a 1v1 actual fight where it's not necessarily that he's struggling, but he's showing off how strong he is against a strong opponent without just completely demolishing that opponent, like when he one-shot the one king without even trying. The Tyrant King without even trying. Then Nirvana's getting knocked down by the attack. I can kill him. He would have had to succeeded some melee skill because of Dokja. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm pretty sure Succession was just pulling skills from past lives. I can kill him. And it's interesting that some of the characters say they, but I think that's just the choice of the translators. Because, again, Korean's not a very gendered language, but whenever the narrator boxes use language for Nirvana, they keep using they keep using gender neutral language even in English to show that Nirvana is kind of transcendent, kind of like not human, but also was male in the past, was female in the past, and like Nirvana's been a lot of was bug in the past, and that Nirvana's just kind of like this transcendent being that has lived maybe hundreds, thousands of lives. And the characters also reflect that. And again, it might not be the characters actually thinking about it that deeply. It's just that the translators are like, Koreans using gender neutral terms, we're going to use that in English. But it's interesting that Junghyuk called Nirvana a man before, because again, meeting Nirvana in the past in a past regression, he views Nirvana as a person more, because they actually have history together and they actually know each other. And it's interesting that Junghyuk is the one person that uses like male pronouns and like talks with gendered language toward Nirvana, because he's the one viewing Nirvana more as just a person. Personal skill, Advanced Mental Barrier level 3 has reached its limit. And he flinches. So this whole time, is this thought infection? This whole time, the fight's been going on, and while Junghyuk has been getting the upper hand physically now, Nirvana has been working away at Junghyuk's mental barrier and has now pushed it past the limit. Personal skill, Thought Vaccine level 1 is being infected. And we see all of these Nirvanas grabbing on. Thought Vaccine was a skill to be used against Nirvana's thought infection and eternal prison. But why? It couldn't be. It must be. 108 worries. And see, this is very cool. We've seen a lot of inspiration taken from a lot of different mythologies and stuff for ORV, and Nirvana's really tapping deeply into this sort of Buddhist mythology. 108 worries are beginning to gnaw at your mind. Personal skill, advanced mental barrier level 3 is beginning to collapse. Junghyuk, I am the only person who can understand you. And he's getting Tsukuyomi'd from Naruto. It's time to let go and become one with me. Is this it for me? Abandoning this round won't make the next round any better. And he's getting strangled. And again, I like the way that the art is kind of conveying both being embraced and being strangled. It very well could be the case that this world you're about to abandon could be the only world where you can live to see it end as a human being. And then, gosh, that took you long enough. Rest for a minute. Shuts his eyes. Activating first person main character POV. And Dokja takes over. What a great scene. These 2 chapters have been some of the best in the series. Like, I'm barely over halfway down the page scrolling. And, like, last chapter was insane. Not only did we have good fighting, but deeper character stuff. And again, we're getting good fighting and deeper character stuff. How did he manage to break through 108 worries? Then, he's looking to his hand. No way. So this is the real first-person main character POV. This overflowing power feels great, encompassing over my entire body. It fills me with such confidence that I feel like anything's possible. The fact that I managed to possess Junghyuk must mean that Seong did as she was told. So we did die again to take over Junghyuk again. But it just... again, it makes you wonder. So does it end because Dokja's body died? If not, what's the plan? And also, how is Junghyuk going to come back to life? If it all goes as planned, the time I have left until my life really ends is... his body's still being messed with by Seong. About 5 minutes. Or it could just be he's near death but not actually dead yet, like when Junghyuk punched him and put him into a near-death state for him to go talk to Hyunsung, but didn't actually kill him. Character Nirvana Mobius is currently activating the skill 108 Worries Level 2. The 4th wall has nullified the effects of 108 Worries. Okay, so now that it's Dokja and not Junghyuk in there, he can use 4th wall on that. This aura. Who are you? He gets in close immediately and punches him away. That is insane. So again, this makes you wonder though, Dokja is just pulling out Junghyuk's like power here? Could Junghyuk have theoretically done this himself then? Nirvana sent flying. To not understand death despite having died so many times. How ironic. Death is what it is. It is what it is. Death is what it is because it happens only once. And we see people grieving the lost. You can never live in the present, but you go on preaching about living in the present. Can it get any more ironic than that? We have a smack. How do you know about me? Why wouldn't I? He smacks him again. I know why you want to become one with Junghyuk, why you're leading the Salvation Church, and what your end goal is with everything you're doing. You fool. I do not know who you are, but this won't change anything. Honestly, I kind of want to know, because it almost feels like... yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like Nirvana was working with somebody that's even, like, greater, like a constellation or something, because of the information and stuff. And like Nirvana could have gotten information like that from past lives, I guess. But I don't know, Nirvana just seemed like they almost like knew too much with what they were doing. Jungkook dies, even if you kill me. No one can change the certain doom that the scenarios have set for us. Tragedy will repeat itself over and over again. I will be reincarnated, and Jungkook will regress once more. And in the end, we'll finally become one. The third strongest incarnation in the Soul Dome is currently the Supreme King, Yoo Jungkook. So Yoo Jungkook is 3. We see a massive... well, I was going to say a massive mandala there, but I think it's just a part of the dome that they're in. And then Nirvana surprised. So even killing Jungkook doesn't solve things. Jungkook is the third strongest? Jungkook will never reach the next round. What? Jungkook will continue to live, no matter what. Either you or I will die here. Nonsense. I'm the ultimate incarnation, Nirvana Mobius. He slaps away his hand. A mere mortal such as yourself. Then we see everyone looking on at the announcement. This can't be. Is he going to say that Mobius is second? Or hold on. Is he going to say Mobius is second, which is going to completely throw them off? Or is it going to say that Dokja is second, which means that Mobius could be killed? Second strongest okay. Second strongest incarnation of Soul Domes, currently the leader of the Salvation Church, Nirvana. There's absolutely no way. Nirvana, you said you wanted to live in the present, right? It can't be. You are... I'll show you what death is. Man, this chapter's... And this is still one chapter. That's where it ends. That is an insane chapter. And I wonder, did the number go down from last time? It did. So, RIP 29 people? It said 89,006, right? RIP 29 people in the course of a chapter. But either way, let's go read the next one. We're starting off 163 with the announcement there. Damn it, what the hell is this? Then, who's the strongest? What's going to happen to us then? And the people are starting to freak out. And, like, monsters are bursting in, too. The monsters reached all the way here? Current number of incarnations is 89,001. RIP 5 more people. Army Man, and we see, Shinsung fighting. What the heck's going on? If Nirvana isn't the strongest, that means Dokja's predictions were off. What do we do now? I mean, like, all of them have to think that Dokja's the strongest, right? I believe. And then we get the cool Omniscient Reader, like, title splash on a panel that we get from time to time. Chapter 28, The Strongest Sacrifice, Part 7. Crazy, crazy title splash. That might be the coolest one so far, but we have had some cool ones in the past, though, so I might be speaking, like, too early. You're gonna show me what death is. Don't be ridiculous. I cannot die. No matter what I do, I can never experience what it is to truly die. If I could die that easily, I wouldn't have put myself through all this suffering. So, you actually want to die. You find solace in seeing other people die because you yourself cannot die. That's why you've been spreading the Salvation Church's doctrines. You wanted to vicariously experience death through them, by watching them live their one and only lives. Because you wanted to share their emotions and become one with them. Your understanding of the character, Nirvana Mobius, has increased. Get off your high horse. Is that why you wanted to become one with Jungkook? You believe that you can erase your existence by becoming one with Jungkook, don't you? Interesting. So, if they did become one with Jungkook, and then Jungkook regressed, would that, again, take basically Nirvana Mobius out of the world line? Would that essentially delete them from existence? Reincarnation is a stigma that belongs to the highest of the constellations. And that's true too. Reincarnation is a stigma, so it's like, is like the original Buddha himself the incarnate or the constellation that hands out reincarnation? And if so, who hands out regression? Or the third one that I am forgetting. In order for regression, reincarnation, return, right? Like the catastrophes. In order for you to undo its effect, you needed the help of an even more powerful constellation. Oh, and that must be the constellation that does regression, because that's why they needed Junghyuk. It seems I've severely underestimated you. I get that a lot. Just kill me now. As you said, I'm not afraid to die. But you better remember this. I will come back to life over and over again. And when I do, I will kill each and every one of your companions and have them suffer the greatest pain known to mankind. Just as I did to your mother. And he reacts. I don't know whether to believe them or if it's a bluff because they want to die right now to get out of the situation and have another chance to reincarnate and come back. But I feel like this is a taunt. I feel like Dokja shouldn't kill Nirvana, probably. Like, get rid of Nirvana somehow, sure. But kill just for them to reincarnate probably isn't a good idea because they can come back and kill and make Dokja's companion suffer. You met my mother. Personal skill fourth wall is shaking. Yes, she was quite an admirable mother. I took great joy in making her submit to me. As you already know, there's nothing I enjoy more than corrupting the hearts of honorable people. And then we see his mother. He's dissociating. Personal skill, the fourth wall is shaking. Nirvana laughs. I've got you now. Character Nirvana Mobius used 108 worries, level 2. I still remember so clearly how she squirmed as she begged me to spare her life. I know that Mother wouldn't have done that. Personal skill, fourth wall shaking violently. Okay, massive black panel. Master, run. Please save this world. You can just abandon this world anytime you want. But this is the voices I just heard. Junghyuk, you finally accepted me. And we see Nirvana. And, oh, the change. I see that you're here too. I'm inside Junghyuk's soul. He must have snuck in here while the fourth wall was shaking. It was a mistake for you to come here. The rule of probability is very loosely applied when you're inside someone's soul. That means Nirvana can freely use the powers of the stories they've accumulated over the years. And it's cool too, I think also, Dokja using they here, where Dokja has, as a reader, has a greater idea of, like, he's probably read all of these different backstories for Nirvana, read all of these different stories about Nirvana. So Dokja has this wider look at Nirvana as a character, whereas Junghyuk has a more personal look at Nirvana as somebody who was also a character, and from his perspective, they were just two people. Alright. We see this beastly transformation. Interesting choice to go with this crazy transformation. I am Nirvana Mobius. I am the one who guides lost souls to the state of Nirvana. I wonder if there is something specific that this, like, maybe something from Buddhist mythology that I just don't know about. Something specific that this is based on, this form. because like there are goat-like features, but also insect-like features, and I think the legs are maybe supposed to make you think of snakeskin. That must be Nirvana's true self. Okay. He smiles. Nirvana, do you know how reincarnation works? Your soul cannot travel to the underworld when you die because it's bound to Mandala's protector. By the laws of the high constellations, your soul just repeatedly possesses an empty vessel, which was birthed at the moment of your death. What are you trying to say? You're not immortal. You may have had many bodies until now, but you only have one soul. Okay, this might be the plan, because the rules of plausibility here, I don't know if Dokja planned this or if this was just lucky, but because the rules of plausibility aren't really as effective here, and Nirvana can just use their full power, that means that Nirvana here is probably way stronger. Nirvana here is probably the strongest of soul. So Nirvana here is stronger, so killing Nirvana here could be a way to end this. But also, there's the fact that they can actually be killed here because you can kill the soul. The soul is Nirvana, the soul just inhabits different vessels, but the soul itself can be killed. But also, it kind of makes you wonder a little about the scenario, because it's like, if this does work, if it's like, okay, Nirvana's stronger here, so if you kill Nirvana's soul here, it counts. Then it's like, so at any point, if any character became stronger and became the strongest, then that would work. Or if somebody became less strong and wasn't the strongest right before dying, then it also wouldn't work. We have all of these hands reaching in toward Dokja. And then I wonder, we see pages flipping. Maybe it's his abilities that are going to protect him. I was thinking that Junghyuk's soul was going to come in and like get the win, and it was going to be a big character moment for Junghyuk. But the pages make me think that it could be something to do with their stories or Dokja's properties as a reader. What have you done? Also, you know, this is gonna be a dumb question. I'm just thinking. I'm just curious. Any furries out there that might be watching this? Does Nirvana do it for you? Like genuine, like not making fun. Genuine question. Like it's a cool design. Then what have you done? If we were out in the real world, my body would have been torn to pieces from that attack. But that's not how things work here. Because your soul is your story. I'm in control of Junghyuk's body right now. Okay, that means we're currently inside of Junghyuk's soul. Alright. As well as my own. Now we have all of these pages. Personal skill. The fourth wall has been activated. And we're seeing a physical wall of text. And I can't tell from the not really dialogue, but from the writing. Yeah, it does seem like it's TWSA. I was going to say I can't tell if the wall is TWSA or if it's like an actual like physical manifestation of their souls. But I think it is just TWSA itself. And again, what is the soul of a person who was written as a character? And I mean, like, I guess everybody written as a character is alive in some way in the world of ORV. So is TWSA, you know, kind of Junghyuk's soul in a way? He's the main character. It means it's his story. Alright, just glancing over this again. And hey, nobody died this chapter. like since the beginning. Okay, and that's where we end for this chapter. We still get to read one more, though. These have been 3 incredibly long ones, incredibly good ones. I think these are genuinely 3 of the best chapters in the entire series. I loved the Yusung stuff, and I feel like people really hyped up the Yusung stuff. I feel like the Yusung stuff was a lot of people's favorite. A lot of people liked the Peaceland stuff. Like, just remembering what different people have said in the comments, a lot of people loved the Peaceland stuff. I think a lot of people's favorite stuff was the 41st round Yusung stuff, though. Personally, I think before this, I think the Catastrophe of Question stuff, where we had Dokja and Jungkook and Sooyoung teaming up, and we got deeper into their characters. And before that, we had done a lot of character stuff in ORV, but I feel like that is the deepest we started diving. And I think everything since then, really it feels like almost a completely different series after everybody gets split up after fighting over the throne. Because the series beforehand, we got introduced to things. We spent a lot of time underground in the subway stations and tunnels, and it was good. ORV was good. But I think after everybody got separated after fighting over the throne is where ORV just jumped to an entirely new level. It just got so extremely good after that. We really started getting more into the characters. And before that, we had already had stuff I enjoyed, like the cinema dungeon. But it just feels like it's gotten just... I always talk about it getting better and better, but it just got so good after that. And I think that, like, that's kind of my favorite part of the story. The first part that really stuck with me and really struck a chord with me was Dokja in his relationship with Byung in the belly of the Ichthyosaur, and everything that went on there really endeared me to Dokja as a main character and really made me like the story so much more. And then it kept spiraling, kept snowballing, getting better after that. But there wasn't really anything, like, I love the cinema dungeon. I think the cinema dungeon was maybe the next big thing for me after that. And then again, all of the introducing kings, fighting over the throne, all of that's good and all, but to me is good and as big of a moment as that is, and I feel like that's a kind of climactic moment, the fight over the throne. As big as that is, I still kind of preferred the cinema dungeon, and I still more fondly remembered the Ichthyosaur stuff. That really stuck with me more. But then after splitting up, the stuff with Dokja's high school bully and building that relationship with Sooyoung, kind of growing and accepting the trauma you hold a little bit, because we got that, and then reconnecting with his mother and some of the stuff with his mother, like before they talked, but when he just knew, oh crap, she's here. When we got some of that stuff, like we got that back to back, and that to me is really memorable and really good. And then we go straight from that into the Catastrophe of Question stuff. And I think before this, the Catastrophe of Question stuff might have been my personal favorite part of the story. After that, we get into the Yusung stuff, which is incredibly good. We get to talk to Persephone in the underworld, which I think is great. We get the Peaceland stuff, which I love the Peaceland stuff. I thought that was a really fun arc, but as fun of an arc as it was, I would still rate it... I don't know. There's some parts I like a lot more about that than the Yusung Catastrophe stuff, Catastrophe of Floods stuff. There's some things I like more about that, some things I like more about the Catastrophe of Flood stuff, but I still would have said the Catastrophe of Question stuff was probably my number one favorite above both of those, and now this is my new favorite stuff. Like, the first battle with Nirvana I thought was good, and I thought it set up a cool character, and it set that character up to be even cooler in the future, and now we're at that future. We are seeing a huge payoff with really, really good action, really good character stuff, and this might not even be the best character stuff we've gotten. Like I said, the Dokja trauma stuff before was just so good. This might not even be the best character stuff, but the way it's told, the way it is told, the context and everything, the way that it's been written, the writing here is just so good. It kind of just feels like it has everything. So I think, and even depending on how big you want to count arcs as, this arc could have arguably also included the first battle with Nirvana, and also the Hyunsung stuff, which was really great. So it's like, this arc I think is my new favorite. It's just so incredibly, incredibly, incredibly good. But either way, I have been yapping, so let me go read 164. I'll be real with you, I certainly did not come into this thinking that this was going to be an over hour long video, but I may have been recording for over an hour already. Yeah, it's going to be so funny at the beginning of the video if you're all watching this and I say at the beginning like, oh, it might be kind of short this week, and then you look at the length of the video and it's like an hour and 10 minutes or something. But either way, let's go and check out 164. This will be the last one this week because I was told it was a good place to stop. Have all the hands reach again? What have you done? If we were out in the real world, my body would have been torn to pieces from that attack. But that's not how things work here. We're getting this recap. I'm in control of Junghyuk's body right now. That means we're currently inside Junghyuk's soul, as well as my own. And that panel's great too. We had it last time where the pages kind of divide the two of them and we see a bit of both. Personal skill, the fourth wall has been activated. This is the fourth wall? And I guess it kind of makes sense. It's the story of TWSA. The story of TWSA is what separates Dokja as a reader from everything else that happens in the story or exists within the story. What have you done? Let me out now. What is this? I keep they'll probably show it. If I keep reincarnating because this world exists, I can just erase this world from existence. It can't be. Yu Junghyuk will be able to take me to the end of this world. So is Nirvana. Nirvana is seeing the story. Nirvana seeing TWSA, and therefore seeing that Dokja can see literally what they're thinking, or what they have thought. There's no need to go to the end of this world. Wait. You will die here. Man, that's so good. Strongest Sacrifice, Part 8. Nirvana the Reincarnator had finally reached the end of their one life. So I guess Nirvana... Spoilers for TWSA, Nirvana dies. They were faced with true death for the first time in their life. He's laughing maniacally. I see. This is what it's like to die. That is when Nirvana realized that this was the moment they'd been waiting for. But why? It was something I'd always wanted. Why am I afraid to face it? The notion that I won't exist. No. I don't want this, they think in their last moments. But Nirvana could not say those words, as their mouth had been scattered to pieces. Their arms, reaching out in desperation, faded away effortlessly. No, please stop. Don't kill me. Yes, your mother's secret. I know what that is. Spare me, please. If you do. As they struggled in desperation, Nirvana ended up muttering the words they had despised, the most in the world. So, it seems like it's because this wouldn't have happened in the same way in TWSA, because, like, Dokja didn't exist in TWSA, it seems like this is actually the fourth wall, like, kind of writing this into existence. I don't want to die. What a really, really cool scene. There's so much depth, so much character weight, like depth when it comes to like philosophical stuff without being like weirdly over the top preachy or saying like one way or another philosophically, but getting into a deeper philosophical subject matter in a mature way, and also like gorgeous visuals and great weight for the character of Nirvana, but also huge weight for the character of Dokja, and it improves and, you know, is part of the character stuff going on with Jungkook. How's Jungkook gonna feel after all of this is over? And what's Jungkook going to know after all of this is over? If this is within his soul and he's here, then does Jungkook see any of this? Does Jungkook learn about any of this? The fourth wall has consumed the character, Nirvana Mobius. The wall's reacting differently. From when I killed the boss of the theater dungeon, the fourth wall smiles contently. The fourth wall looks at you with a covetous gaze. Is the fourth wall going to want to take over Dokja's story? Is the fourth wall the author itself? Like, maybe the fourth wall is the constellation. We see this warping. Come to think of it, I don't know what the fourth wall is exactly. It's fine that it killed Nirvana, but what comes next is... At that moment, this thought ran through Kim Dokja's head. What if I end up being consumed by this wall someday as well? At that moment... Oh, okay, and we see that. Dokja's terrified. Again, this is massive. 108 worries has been deactivated. And I also like seeing that it's been deactivated there, so it kind of makes you wonder as a reader, is this just the worry clawing at Dokja's mind? But I think we all know it's probably not. It is the fourth wall is essentially a terrifying eldritch being beyond our comprehension. Now, Jungkook is back. Or at least maybe Dokja and Jungkook's body. Well, the scenario is near its end. And Nirvana's fading. We'll now have to announce who the strongest incarnation is, won't we? The strongest incarnation is none other than... Oh? Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Level 3 will be deactivated due to mental exhaustion. I've reached my limit. First person main character POV has been deactivated. You've died. And we see Dokja's body. The rain coming down. And and 2 days later. So, if Dokja actually dies, does Dokja get Reincarnator from the fourth wall consuming, because they specifically said consuming, Nirvana, and he enters the empty vessel of his body and is reincarnated as him? Well, I guess the empty vessels were children that were born at the time of Nirvana's death, but you got my point. He enters some sort... He has to grow up from a baby again. And 2 days later, we have the funeral. They held a funeral for me. Is he really dead? I mean, really. Something like this happened a couple times before, right? I'm sure he'll... And where'd Master go? I'm sure Master can bring him back to life. Mister, where was Seohwa all this time? Hey, everybody's asking. Mister, wake up. Tell me, this is all a prank. I don't hate Seohwa, but at the same time, I am going to make jokes about Seohwa being nowhere and doing nothing at all times ever. I'm going to make jokes about Seohwa being a soggy piece of white bread, bland as possible. I'm going to make fun of Seohwa being tap water. I'm going to make fun of Seohwa. Mr. Wake up. Tell me this is all just a prank. Death prank. He was the strongest in Seoul Dome. I have Min Ji-won. A new main scenario will begin shortly. Min Ji-won just lurking in the story. I kind of want to do like I did for Tower of God, and I talked about maybe wanting to do for Kubera. I could do a screen time video for ORV and just be like, Min Ji-won. Min Ji-won is just lurking. They now had to continue living in this world without Kim Dokja. And we end on that. And current number of incarnations didn't go down though, even though, it should be down too from Nirvana and Dokja, right? and usually we get the scenario ending screen. So I think we didn't get the scenario ending screen. Obviously, like, if I was reading this on my own and I was like in high school, I'd probably be like, oh my god, he's maybe dead. He might actually really be dead. But as a fully developed brain adult who knows that this story goes on for like many more chapters, and the novel many more after that, he's fine. I'll sleep it off. So I'm not really worried about him. But also, yeah, the incarnation counter didn't go down. We usually have the end of a scenario thingy by now. So since the scenario thingy hasn't popped up, he's fine. He'll be aight. I don't know how yet. We'll see next week. This is apparently a really good way, really good place to end it. So I'm going to end here. Thank you for watching. Going to be a long video, I guess. I very much enjoyed these. I think this is the best segment so far, the best chapters so far. It was really, really great. It's going to be a late night upload for you all because it is now 12:30 after midnight, and I still need to go edit this, render it, upload it, all of that. So thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's chapters, my thoughts and reaction to them. Subscribe for more. Omniscient Reader, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. Just ask and I can give you a link. If you would like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks, that would be appreciated. If you want to, that would be appreciated. But if you want something yourself, if you want to help support the channel, but also get One Piece videos a little early, you want to get your name at the end of every single video, hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already patrons and channel members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, JA, and the D-Ban, Sheridan Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardialo. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.